This gross material body, made of 5 elements, is already under the control of eternal time, kala, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guna. How then can it, being already in the jaws of the serpent, protect others? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The world's movements for freedom through political, economic, social, and cultural propaganda can do no benefit to anyone, for they are controlled by supreme power. A conditioned living being is under the full control of material nature, represented by eternal time and activities under the dictation of different modes of nature. There are 3 material modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Unless one is situated in the mode of goodness, one cannot see things as they are. The passionate and the ignorant cannot even see things as they are. Therefore, a person who is passionate and ignorant cannot direct his activities on the right path. Only the man in the quality of goodness can help to a certain extent. Most persons are passionate and ignorant, and therefore their plans and projects can hardly do any good to others. Above the modes of nature is eternal time, which is called kala, because it changes the shape of everything in the material world. Even if we are able to do something temporarily beneficial, time will see that the good project is frustrated in the course of time. The only thing possible to be done is to get rid of eternal time, kala, which is compared to kala sarpa, or the cobra snake, whose bite is always lethal. No one can be saved from the bite of a cobra. The best remedy for getting out of the clutches of the cobra-like kala, or its integrity, the modes of nature, is bhakti yoga, as it is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita. The highest perfectional project of philanthropic activities is to engage everyone in the act of preaching bhakti yoga all over the world, because that alone can save the people from the control of Maya, or the material nature represented by kala, karma, and guna, as described above. The Bhagavad Gita confirms this definitely. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namane, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavani Pastat. So basically, this text says a lot of things, but it's saying that the gross material body that's made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether is already under the control of time. So what does it mean? What is the time factor? Can anybody here say a little bit about that? When you hear that time, what is time?
Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, time I am.
Okay, now unpack that. That's pretty cerebral. What does that mean?
Here you go.
Well, then he says, destroyer of all.
Destroyer of all things, yeah. Okay, so we all have practical experience that as soon as a person takes birth, they actually start to die. When you say that you're having a birthday, happy birthday, it means you've actually died one day. We're having a celebration that you've made it to 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So once we enter into a body, then we're very much influenced by the stage or the age that we are in. We're riding a vehicle called the body, and when the soul enters it, we're influenced by whatever's going on with the body at that age and that stage. For example, an infant, when we enter into an infant's body, we do what the infant body does. It cries, it poops, it does whatever infants do, right? I mean, they don't, not a lot of freedom. The child can't say, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm 1 year old, I'm 6 months old, I want to go to college right now. No, you're completely controlled by the bodily needs at that age and stage. So there's no freedom, really. A little bit like animals, animals do what animals do. much control once you enter this body. So the time factor is really what's moving us on this conveyor belt we call life. We don't have any real thing to do about that except for to evolve from the various ages and stages. So it says in Bhagavad Gita, from boyhood to youth to old age. And every particular stage of life, we have a task and a particular mentality that's accompanying that age and stage. Again, we don't have a lot of control. For example, as a teenager, through the control of time factor, all of a sudden, at a certain age, puberty, and I don't know what age that is now because people are growing up pretty early, but there's a hormone, something happens, to the body at a certain time, your body clock says, okay, now it's time the hormones start moving, and you start to grow taller or bigger, or hair starts popping up in surprising places that we didn't have hair before. We might break out in a bunch of pimples, Our mind starts generating thoughts of reproducing ourselves. We didn't have that idea when we were 6 or 7 or 8. Suddenly, when we're 13, 14, we start to think, I have this power inside of me. What do I do with that? And your body starts to morph into different shape. I have actually a 16-year-old grandson, and I've watched him go through these stages. It's really amazing. And in the last few years, I've watched his body dramatically change. He's grown 2 or 3 feet. He's taller than his mother. He was suddenly, first he gets chubby because you need to get chubby in order to then go this way. You go fat and you go thin, and his feet are so big, and he's got now suddenly mustaches and hairs all over the place, and he doesn't know who he is anymore. It happens so fast. And his brain hasn't really caught up with his body. And so what we have with a pubescent 16-year-old is somewhat like having an adult living in a child's body, an adult body with a child's brain. And he doesn't know whether he's a child or whether he's a man, and he's confused about what is he supposed to be doing. Yesterday I was playing Lego, and it was okay. People thought it was fine if I sat in the back of the temple and I'm playing Lego. Well, suddenly I've turned a year older, and that's just not okay because I have hair on my face, and I've grown a little bit taller. So it's a bit of a catch-up game. So not much control there. You're out of control. And so often we see teenagers that get out of control because they don't know where they should put their energy. It's a stage. And there's not a lot of things, not much we can do with it except for go with it, go cooperate with it and go through it. And if that's not enough of being out of control, then we have our mind and our intelligence that we enter into this body with. Prabhupada says the child is like a piece of dough in the first 5 years. But you really do come into this world with a set of ingredients. You can only mold something with first having ingredients. And so there's a limit to how much you can mold a person because they already come in with a particular set of karma and a set of consciousness. And once you enter into family, into the body, it comes with not just the particular family members that you have, but you have a certain ethnicity, a social status, an economic status, religious perspective, culture, a gazillion preferences in lifestyle, food tastes, and even what we perceive to be beautiful or strong is very much influenced by our early life formation in the family that somehow we take birth in, we grow up and how did I get in this family? I have talked to many devotees who, when they when they were growing up, they looked around at their mother and their father and their sisters, and they thought, I don't belong in this group. They are not. They don't think like me, and that may be somehow they needed to finish up a material desire, and then they become attracted to the devotees by some amazing grace. But I've heard that many times, that devotees will say, God, growing up, I didn't fit. It didn't feel like I fit in this family. So, because we are so highly influenced by the environment in our early life, from our family and our friends and our social norm, then we begin to think that the way that our family has taught us, or what we've learned in that culture of family, is the norm. And as we grow up, we start to bump into other people's values and behavioral norms that they think theirs is the right way and the only way because that's what their parents did. And some families may not be in harmony or in sync with what the rest of society is doing, so you start to bump into different tribes of people or groups of people who think that their way is the best way, the only way, and now we have conflict. So there's not a lot of control around that. You're sort of placed there. And part of it has to do with our knowing and mostly unknowing choice to take birth in a particular environment due to the consciousness that we had in our previous life at the moment of death. It's not like, well, I thought of a frog, so I become a frog. It's the sum total of the quality of your consciousness that is surrounding all the things that you did up until the moment of death. And the things that you spend the most energy on and have the most impressions on are what you drive you or accompany you to the womb of your mother. And so it matches the mother and father, the consciousness of the parents has a certain kind of quality and a certain kind of awareness, and the soul leaving the previous body is attracted to the parents who are conceiving a particular child in a particular consciousness. So it's a match, and you find each other out of all these millions of personalities at the moment of conception. So once that you hatch into a little piece of molecule that develops into a human being, the time factor just starts pushing you through the different stages. And it's in some ways like when you buy something that has a battery, it has a life expectancy on it. They know, okay, I give you a 2-year warranty on that battery, and after 2 years, your battery's going to run out. And then you need a new thing or a new battery. So we also, at the moment of conception, have a number of heartbeats, that we have a certain. We don't know what that is, maybe. Some people do astrology and they get some idea, maybe I'm going to live long, or they look at their parents' DNA and they think I'm going to live long. But that's not a guarantee, especially when you're practicing devotional life. So there's so many factors that we have no control of when we arrive in the material body. Not just our gross body, our subtle body, which is thinking, feeling, and willing, our social environment. But our bodies also tell us a little bit about what we were perhaps desiring in our previous life. So Krishna awards us a certain situation so that we can continue fulfilling those desires. And often, the way our body is put together can say something about what kind of vocation we might be good at or we might be drawn to. For example, you might have a 300-pound, 6-foot-tall, 300-pound man who has a lot of muscles. He might not have a very suitable body to do ballet dancing. It just wouldn't, he may not even be attracted to that, but even it would be cumbersome in a 300-pound, 6-foot body with muscles to be able to do what ballet dancers do. He might be very good at a sumo wrestler, have a body that's suitable to that, but ballet dancer may not be his strength. And so you also then are limited even more by the body that you have, where you are headed in this lifetime. So often we are confused then about what is our duty and how should we be in the world, particularly because of the influence of the modes of passion and ignorance and all these other factors, not just parents and social and the body we have, but then you have these modes that are constantly changing. Goodness, passion, ignorance. I said this yesterday, that Prabhupada explained that sometimes we're floating, sometimes we're drowning, sometimes we're swimming in the ocean of material existence. And it has a lot to do with how you associate with material energy, how it's affecting your consciousness, which will again affect your choices. For example, I may wake up in the morning and have a hangover from taking a lot of intoxicants the night before, or from eating too much heavy food, a bunch of sugar and fried stuff, or watching television all night. And so I go to bed so late, and I'm so tired. I want to sleep most of the next day, because then you get up the next day and you just want to sleep. And then finally, when you finally wake up, it might be noon or later, and you feel so bad after you've stayed. I've done this before, so I know how horrible it feels. It feels so bad. The more you sleep, the more you want to sleep. The body is just never satisfied. It's like the more you eat, the more you want to eat. Greed is a terrible thing, but sleep is like that too. And when you've overslept and slept too much, you feel like it's a burden to be awake, and you're thinking, oh gosh, I better just go back to sleep, it's so horrible. Or you're heading straight for the coffee machine, or somebody go to Starbucks. I see this all the time. You don't see people going to work without a Starbucks coffee in their hand, because it's just can't bear to get up and get going. So this is how the mode of ignorance affects us. It makes us really heavy and dark, and oh man, life is such a burden, and we become lazy. And not only that, we become expert at insulting other people. That's another quality of the mode of ignorance. What we think, what we desire, what we're eating even, how we dress, they're all reflecting the modes that we're under or influenced by. And the same thing is with the mode of passion. You can see our response to everything. People who are under the influence of passion, they're working. And they don't even know why they're doing it. They see something that needs to be done, and you do it, and you do it now, and you can't wait not to do it. It has to be done, And there's no thought about, why am I doing this, and why do I need to be doing that now? And part of that passion, that mode of passion, is trying to control our environment. And why do we control that environment? Let's ask the audience. Why do we strive? Because we're all pretty much influenced by passion and ignorance. Why is it that we strive to control our environment? Raise your hand, or I'll pick somebody. Why do you think about it? Why do you do that? We spend so much time arranging and planning. Why do we do that?
So that we can enjoy.
Can enjoy. Okay. What does that mean?
Well, if we're trying to enjoy,
if we're trying to enjoy, but things aren't happening the way we want them to happen, it's more difficult to enjoy. So if we can be the controllers, we think that we can enjoy more.
Right, and we can keep our discomfort at bay, right? And because we really want to get comfortable, and what are the kinds of things we need to keep ourselves comfortable, that we work so hard for? What are the things that you could not do without, that would make you really, really anxious if you couldn't be sure that you were getting that tomorrow?
Food, shelter.
Say that here, they're going to say it into the microphone.
Food, shelter, and clothing.
Exactly, yeah, a place to stay even. I mean, you could have a place to stay and clothes, just the basic survival needs and feeling safe. People work very hard for those things because you can't enjoy much without those things, right? So the mode of passion is very much geared to trying to arrange for our own safety and our survival and our comfort. Now, when we get to the mode of goodness, things shift a little bit.